Hello there, you amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to part 5 of my DVD dissertation video of Doctor Who. And for this, I'm going to go through all of the DVDs we have got for season 6. Now, before I get into what I've actually got for season 6, now I'm going to quickly say a few things about the season. So it is my favourite black and white season. It is my favourite Patrick Troughton season, and of course it has my all-time favourite Cyberman story in it as well, and of course my favourite Ice Warrior story. Season 6 is a cracking season, and I cannot wait for this season to come out on Blu-ray. Hopefully that the Space Pirates have been animated or have been found, so that way we can have a whole season complete for the 60s. Sorry, back to burp. So, season 6, what can I say what we have got? So, back in 2010, the story opener of this season was actually released onto DVD, and it is The Dominators. Yes, The Dominators is the very first story to open up season 6, and what are my thoughts on the story? Well, it's a kind of a mixed bag. It's only a 5-part story. I do like the Quarks that are very, very good. I really find the designs quite good as well. The Dominators itself as a story, it's a very kind of a meh story, to be honest with you. I mean, Troughton has some great iconic lines, and his facial expressions are really well as well, which is one of the reasons why I don't really mind the Dominators. Yes, the story is a little bit boring, but it does have some iconic moments in there from Troughton. And the next story to be released, well, this was one of the very first ones to be released from the season, and it was released back in 2005. So the next DVD release was for this, well, basically for this. So the story we have next that we have got on DVD is The Mind Robber, that was released back in 2005. So this is another 5-part story, and my god, it's absolutely brilliant. It's got some great iconic moments, especially when the TARDIS team ends up in a land of friction after the TARDIS basically gets ripped apart, and the TARDIS basically ends up floating, and you got Zoe and Jamie hold on to the console where the second Doctor's just there kind of floating like a drift, and you got them Zoe screaming, "Jamie, the Doctor! Ah! Ah!" Yeah, okay, that's kind of good. I love the fact that Freezer Hines came down with chicken pox, so they had to have an actor to play Jamie, and of course by doing that, it's having Jamie's face come melted up with little pieces, and the Doctor goes, "Oh, yeah, that's Jamie's little face. That's his. Oh no, I got it wrong. Oh dear me. Oh." I really like Patrick Troughton's Doctor. As I said before, he is my 3rd favourite incarnation of the Doctor, and he just makes me laugh every time. Oh my giddy aunt. Doctor, the island's going to get covered in volcano. Yes, but not only. But Doctor, we are on the island. Oh my word! I really do enjoy The Mind Robber. It's a fantastic story. So the next story in season 6, sorry, the 3rd story was released back onto DVD in 2006, and it was the first story to ever had animation to it for the adapting the missing episodes, and it is The Invasion. The Invasion, The Invasion, The Invasion. What can I say about The Invasion? Well, to be honest, it's my favourite story of this season. It is my favourite Troughton story. It is my favourite Cyberman story. It is honestly the best Cyberman story. I can honestly say it is literally the best one, because one, the Cybermen don't really appear in it until around about episode 4, beginning of episode 5, and this is an 8-part story. Yeah, just think about it, an 8-part story. And the Cybermen don't even come into it until around about episode 4. And the way they do come into it is really brilliant. So we have Mr. Thorne, who is basically, I think he's a bit of a pillock. We have the return of the Cyber Planner since season 5 in The Wheel of the Cybermen, since the Wheel in Space, when the Cybermen basically left their appearance until this story. Plus it introduces us to Unit. Yes, Unit as well. So we have a fantastic cracking story for Unit's very first appearance, aka it is Nicholas Courtney's 2nd appearance in Doctor Who's history, but in this one he's playing a colonel, he isn't promoted to Brigadier yet. I believe that is till the Pertwee era, which is the next season, aka season 7. This season is actually a cracking one, and when we get to more stories you find out why. So the next DVD was thought to be actually having this DVD dissertation was released all the way back in 2012. Now, fun little fact, this was the first ever story I actually ever owned of the Second Doctor in my younger age. Now, saying that, you understand why. So, for me to sit here and say this story is the very first one I actually ever owned on VHS, is the Croutons. Yes, growing up, I didn't really have much of the first two Doctors on DVD. I mean, back when I was actually starting to collect them, I only had one DVD for Hartnell, and then I had like 2 VHS tapes of Hartnell. And then for Charlton, I only had 3 DVDs, which was basically The Invasion. Then, of course, it was the War Games and the Seeds of Death, because my dad accidentally re-brought the War Games twice. So he gave me his spare copy of the War Games. But the Croutons, I don't get the hatred for it. I think it is a cracking story. Honestly, I just flipping don't get the hatred for it. I mean, I think the Croutons are a very good design. The fact that this is the first story to introduce us to the TARDIS HADS, the emergency hostile action force. Yeah, that's actually a brilliant story, you know, the Croutons. I absolutely enjoy it. I don't know why. So the next major DVD we had, now, but I think this was the second ever story to have released for Patrick Troughton in the DVD range, and this came out in 2003. And my god, this is an incredible story, and this was actually my second ever piece of DVD merch to have the Second Doctor growing up. It is the original Seeds of Death. The Seeds of Death. This is the original DVD from 2003, and it was my basically around about second, third piece of Doctor Who media for the Second Doctor growing up. So why can I tell you about the Seeds of Death? Well, the Seeds of Death, it is an iconic story. It's the best outing for the Ice Warriors, I believe, from Classic Who. Now, here to explain why. So we go to the moon base for the TMAS system. The TARDIS materializes inside a space museum. So you kind of have the Doctor, Jamie and Zoe getting pulled into the rocket to go investigate what's going on. And then, of course, it is the Doctor's oldest foes since the season prior, the Ice Warriors. And we also meet for the very, very, very first time the Ice Lords, which are the leaders to the Ice Warriors. It would take us up to the Capaldi era to meet the Ice Warriors Queen, Alexas. But this is the first time we kind of see the Ice Lords, and it's a cracking story. Absolutely brilliant. It has some iconic moments, especially with washing up liquid being used for gas bubbles, and you got the Doctor going, "Oh my word, oh," like that. It's actually some good moments. And then, of course, in 2011, we had Doctor Who Visitations 3 released. And, of course, the DVDs aren't in here. I've put them back into the shelf in the collection. But, as you can see, the Seeds of Death had a special edition release in this box set in 2011. And, to be honest with you, I honestly have to admit, 1 copy is not enough for the Seeds of Death. 2 copies isn't even enough. I mean, I've got 3 copies of it because I own it on VHS as well. So I kind of have it 3 times over in my Doctor Who collection through the VHS range and the DVD range. But I just absolutely flipping love the Seeds of Death. It is just a cracking story. Honestly, cracking. Now, the second to last story of the season, aka the Space Pirates, is missing. And it only has 1 story existing, aka which is on the Lost in Time box set. But I'm not going to pull it out just because it has 1 story from the season, 1 episode from the missing story from the season. So I just wanted to give that a quick mention. Then in 2009, we had Patrick Troughton's last ever story released onto DVD merchant. And it is The War Games, the fantastic 10-part epic to end the fantastic reign of the Second Doctor. And how did they end it with? The Doctor being put on trial by the Time Lords for his crimes and interfering with other people's interference and interfering with other people's and planets' interferences. Even though the Doctor does basically stand up saying, "Why I have been fighting against the evil in the galaxy," like he's there telling the Times, like, "Why you've been observing the evil in the galaxy? I have been fighting against it. Give me a Fort channel and I'll show you the quarks." And then, of course, he goes to the Ice Warriors for Ancient Martians, then Cybermen. Then, of course, we have Daleks. And he goes, "All these evils I fought against, why you have done nothing but preserve. We are not here on trial, Doctor. You will too." I love the fact how he stands up the Time Lords again, where he's arguing, where he's there thinking the Time's going to let him go free and he's going to put him into exile. And he goes, In exile? You can't just condemn me in exile. And he goes, your appearance will change. And he goes, you cannot change what I look like without consulting me. I love the fact how Troughton really nails down the second Doctor's final moments by arguing with the Time Lords and then leading into his punishment. And part of that punishment is actually to change his appearance and begin exile. And that is the end for Doctor Who in the 1960s. And this is the last DVD run for season 6. So yeah, so far for season 6, we're only missing one story, aka the Space Pirate. So technically, this is really the third season that's nearly complete of the 60s, considering that season 1 only needs Marco Polo. Season 2 is kind of complete on the Blu-ray, but the DVD range isn't, because we haven't had the DVD release of The Crusade, where it was released with the face that reconstruction on the Blu-ray. So yeah, DVD wise, not really going to be completed now. I think that the fact the season was actually complete for the Blu-ray with the telesnap reconstructions is amazing. And of course, season 6 is nearly complete with just the Space Pirates missing. So giving you a quick merchant that where you can get these DVDs from. You've got the Dominators you can buy singly. You've got the Mind of Rubber singly. You've got the Invasion singly. You've got the Crouton singly. The Seas of Death, you have to look for the original release somewhere, either on CEX or Amazon or eBay. I found this one on eBay. I mean, I got rid of the one my dad gave me ages ago. Then, of course, you can get the Visitations 2 DVD box set with the special edition of the Seas of Death. And also on DVD, you can actually pick up the War Games. Now, I actually own another DVD box set with the War Games on it. I'm just going to quickly go and get that. So, anyway, as I was saying, for the War Games, there actually was another DVD box set released with the War Games in it. And it was released around about 10 years ago. And it is the Regeneration box set, which has basically the Regeneration stories from the 10th Planet, to the War Games, to Planet of the Spiders, Logopolis, the Caves of Androzani, Time and Irani, the TV movie. And it even has the 2 Russell T Davies ones of the Regeneration stories, aka Bad Over Part of the Ways for 9, and then of course for 10 we have the End of Time, and that's the last time really. So it doesn't really have, it's not really complete now, because since we've had Matt Smith's Regeneration, we've had Peter Capaldi's Regeneration, and Jodie Whittaker's Regeneration, but it's actually nice to have this still in the collection, and to actually have a season 6 story as well. It's actually relevant to season 6. So if you've got the War Games, if you're trying to get the War Games, I would try and get it down in here. It's a lot cheaper, because now the DVDs have gone down in price from $10.99 when the first issue come out. Now you can only get them for $5.99, aka £6. This, on the other hand, was 30 quid, I believe. And it was actually a masterpiece to own, to actually get. So if you want to complete season 6, you can complete all the DVDs. But if you want to try and track down the War Games, I would say try and get it on its own. But I would highly recommend getting this Regeneration box set, because it also has stories in there from season 4, seasons 11, seasons 18, season 21, season 24, and the TV movie, and series 1 and series 4 for the specials. So yeah, that's kind of another good box set, and it is rated 12 as well. So yeah, that is basically all the DVDs we have for season 6. Join me next time for for the next Doctor Who DVD dissertation video on season 7, which only contains 4 stories, but we kind of had more de-releases for that season than you would actually ever think for just 4 stories. So join me next time in the Doctor Who DVD dissertation. I hope you enjoy.